start into the day's program. Bit of a sad news in the sense that an old-time Baba lover and an old member of our Bombay Center passed away, passed over to Baba this month. Her name is Dinas Chinoy. She
I'm
used,
sorry, your voice is breaking, Sam. Can you repeat what you're saying again, please?
her name is Dinas Chinoy. Is it clear now?
Yeah, clear. Go ahead.
And she was the owner of Union Press, where we had a lot of our things printed for our center's work. I knew her personally in the sense she was a regular visitor on all Sunday meetings. And although she lived at Dadar, which is quite far, she would beat me and be at the center a little before 4:30. If I was late in reaching there, she would reprimand me with a smile. So let us today observe a minute's silence in her honor and pray to Baba to keep his nazar on her soul as always. Thank you, everybody. Jai Baba. Today, we have with us Dr. Merwan. There are doctors, and some of us at the center are medical doctors, some of us at the center are PhDs. Merwan is also a PhD. And before I can say, I don't know very many details about him, I would like Menos to take over and introduce him because they are related and they've spent a lot of time in Baba's families. So over to you, Menos. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Sam. It's a it's a real pleasure to introduce Merwan. Merwan is my elder brother, cousin, whatever you may call it. Uh, and actually, the whole the fact that Merwan is here and talking to us started from the stories which I was narrating about my mother and our family about 4 Thursdays back. And any story of the Mehta family with Mer Baba has to start with uh, Barjor Mehta and his great good fortune to connect with Baba and bring the entire family to beloved Baba. And and I'm very happy also that Merwan's younger brother Behram, the great Behram, is also here with us today. So Behram, welcome. Behram is a medical doctor. Okay. He continues to practice medicine. I don't know which medicine he practices, but he does practice a lot. Merwan, of course, is a doctorate, stays in the US. And Mernosh, the second one, is also a doctor, if I'm not mistaken, but I think he's done his PhD in economics, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So three very illustrious brothers. Their parents. So that's how the journey started. So that's how when the reference of Barjor Mehta came in, and my father, who's sitting right here and listening in very attentively to all the conversations, was first taken to Baba and introduced to Baba by Barjor Mehta. And if you remember, if you have seen the movies, particularly the East West Gathering of 1962, you see Barjor Kaka standing over there on stage, translating all of Baba's discourses into Gujarati. So he had that unique responsibility. And of course, he was the first secretary of the Bombay Center. And their marriage, so the marriage of Merwan's father, Barjor Kaka, and Meru Auntie Meru Damania was also solemnized by Baba. So Merwan will of course be touching upon all of that. So if I have to introduce Merwan, he's of course born in the Ahmednagar family, in Ahmednagar, the Satta family to which Meru Auntie belonged to, which came to Baba very early. In Erach, our dearest Erach uncle, whose birthday was there on the 13th of October, was the Meru Auntie's first cousin. And Merwan's grand uncles, Nasarwanji, Satta, and Firoz, so we used to call them Naswan Mama and Pilu Mama. I remember these lovely names. And Nasarwan Satta was someone connected with Mahatma Gandhi, and he was a freedom fighter. He was a politician. He was an MLA from Ahmednagar, if I'm not mistaken. And Nasarwan Satta was the one who actually brought Gandhiji to Upasni Maharaj, and Gandhiji had a very interesting experience with Upasni Maharaj. And then, of course, from there, the connection with Baba was established. So Naswan Mama lived to be a grand old man of 100 plus. Baba frequently visited the family at Akbar Press, which I spoke about in my last talks, which I was as a child very privileged to be there and live in that house for a few years whenever we would go there. Merwan's parents lived in Mumbai in the early 60s, and his father, Barjor, was involved in the Mumbai Center. He was our first secretary of the center and a founding member as well. Later, he moved to Ahmednagar along with his family. Merwan remembers seeing Baba during Dara and Amrit's wedding reception in Merazad in December 1968. Presently, Merwan lives in Greenville, North Carolina, and works at East Carolina University as a professor in the College of Engineering and Technology. Greenville is 3.5 hours away from the Baba Center in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Merwan served on the board of directors of the Baba Center at Myrtle Beach for one term. And if I may add, Merwan, I don't know, but I do remember hearing Merwanti, your mom, say that when you were very, very small, maybe a few days old, you were kept on Baba's lap in Guru Prasad. So please correct me if I am wrong or if I am right. So I will end my introduction. It's a privilege to have Merwan here and speak and share his stories. Over to you, Merwan. You will have to unmute yourself, Merwan.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
So, since you mentioned sitting on Baba's lap, I guess let me start with that first. Um, just to give you a background of what I'll be talking about. I haven't prepared anything, so I'm just here to share my stories the way they come to my heart. So I've always believed that talking from the heart is the best way to go. And I'm really glad that I have my brother and Shernas, and I'm sure they are going to remind me of stories that I forget. So I can kind of use their support to kind of give you some more stories. But talking about sitting on Baba's lap, the other day somebody sent me a picture of Baba, and I don't know whether you've seen the picture. Maybe I can send you all these pictures sometime later, Menos. But in this picture, Baba is standing and he's smiling away, and beside him there is, if you know Roshan Kerawala, she's one of my aunts, so she's there. And then in the picture there is Mera, her daughter Mera Arjani, used to be Mera Kerawala, who has suffered a stroke, and she's at Merazad at the moment. And so she's there. She's a kid. She's a kid of maybe, I think she must be 3 or 4. And in the same picture is my mom standing at the back, and there is a small kid in the front who looks like he's maybe 2 or 3, who is crying away. And so when somebody sent me that picture, guess who the kid was? So that's when I said, wow, it would have been nice to look at Baba rather than be crying. And so that's the way kind of it took me to the earliest memories of Baba. So Mernosh, I wasn't sitting on his lap, but I guess it's in black and white that I had the privilege of crying in front of Baba. So
I stand corrected.
okay. So what let me begin by kind of going through the way I'm kind of going to go about. The best way that I know is to chronologically go as my life progressed, and then tell you all the things that happened. And I would really appreciate some input in between if you think I'm forgetting something, or I should elaborate on something that some of you remember. I would be more than happy to kind of elaborate, because my memory also is limited. So I guess let's begin by, like you mentioned, the Satta family. They came to Baba in the, I think it must be in the 1920s, when Baba established the ashram in Mehrabad. And I remember my Nashran Mama and Bilu Mama telling me that they had heard of a saint who had come and who had established a center at Mehrabad. And so they used to walk from Akbar Press, which was our family home, to Mehrabad. And Nashran Mama was one of the few people who said, who could claim that he had heard Baba talk. People say, "Oh, have you seen Baba?" or "Do you remember seeing Baba?" But there are very few people who you will meet who said that they had heard Baba. Baba kept silence for, his last 44 years. And so it would have been kind of a pretty special to have heard Baba. So the relationship with Baba started then. And then as the family kind of grew, Baba used to go from Merazag to Mehrabad, and a number of times he used to stop at Akbar Press. And my mom used to kind of constantly tell me that Baba would just kind of come in unannounced, and at times he used to get up early in the morning. When you say early, we're talking about maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then start out. So by around 4 o'clock, he would be at Akbar Press. And at sometimes Baba would open we didn't have a fridge that time. So we used to have these cupboards which were netted, in which you put your food. And so Baba used to come straight, go to the netted cupboards and kind of start eating, because he was so hungry in the morning. So those are the kind of things my mom always told me, and kind of really liked what Baba did for the family. So like Menosh, you mentioned my mother and father. My father was originally attracted to Baba when he was in Mumbai. So he was working in Mumbai as a librarian. And so he was instrumental in starting the center. And then at some point, there was a talk about a girl in Ahmednagar. And so Baba brought them two together, and they got married in, I believe, in 57. In fact, the other day, somebody, my brother Mernosh sent me a picture of their wedding, and on the back of it was the date, November. Let me quiz my brothers. So Behram, do you know when our parents got married?
I think it's 25th or 26th of November.
You're right. It was 25th of November, 1957. So yeah. So yeah, I didn't know it just a couple of days back. So anyway, that's and then I was born in 59, so maybe in a year and a half or so. So the relationship with Baba started right early, and when I was born, Baba used to kind of constantly send telegrams. And so Iraj sent a telegram to my mom saying that, and he said that for all three of us, that we are kind of old bhakts of his, old disciples. And the one thing that he kind of said, Iraj said, which kind of has in a number of ways kind of changed my life, and kind of given maybe some direction sometimes, and created confusion at others, which kind of I will elaborate upon, is that he also mentioned that Baba said that this first son of yours is Norina. And at that time, I mean, you kind of hear that and you kind of say, oh, okay, what's this? And now at this point in my life, it just feels very normal for me to talk about these things. But you can imagine being a kind of a kid of maybe 5 or 6, and everybody then kind of questioning you. Oh, so you were a lady in your last birth? Well, how does that feel? And so it later I found out that there was just one sentence. Baba just had one sentence in the letter, which said that Eraj said that he is my old disciple Norina, and that just one sentence has, in a number of ways, kind of established my relationship with Baba. At the same time, created a lot of confusion. And I would like to kind of talk more about that as we go forward. But that was the kind of a gist of the whole thing. So later, when my dad didn't have much kind of a success in Mumbai, he decided to go to Ahmednagar. So at some point, the whole family moved to Ahmednagar. Then my 2 brothers were born. Now, as luck would have it, I was born in Ahmednagar, but both my brothers are born in Mumbai. And so this must be like when you get married, I guess, as there's a tradition in a lot of other families also, the firstborn is born at the mother's place. I mean, that's what I've heard. I don't know. You might want to correct me if that's not the case, but that's why I was born in Ahmednagar, but my brothers are born in Mumbai. So they were born, and after we were living in Mumbai for a while. By the way, we lived in Mumbai in Khushrubagh, and the Kerawalas, the Sam Kerawala and Roshan Kerawala, they had a flat there, and so we were kind of I don't know what the arrangement was, but maybe we were subletting from them or something. But we were living there, and that was just a very small kind of a 2-bedroom kind of an apartment. And so at some point, considering the space, considering the means of earning a living, all that, my family decided we are better off in Ahmednagar, and so they moved to Ahmednagar. So I believe we must have moved to Ahmednagar in 64 or 65, I think. That must be the time that we moved to Ahmednagar. Now, the way kind of I remember this, we moved to Ahmednagar, and for some reason, I don't know, I've asked this later of my mom, why she thought there was a need for her to put me in a boarding school. But that's what she did. She put me in a boarding school in Pune.
Not as clear as.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Mehta.
So she put me in the boarding school in Pune. So I was in the JN Petit technical school. And I later asked, so what was the reason? And she kind of pretty much said, you were too much to handle, and had other 2 kind of boys, and so we decided you would be better off in that boarding school, which kind of worked out pretty good for me, because I went to the boarding school, and then after that, my brothers followed me. So at one point, Mernosh and I were in the boarding school together, and then after I left, Behram joined the boarding school. So the good thing about the boarding school was right across from Guru Prasad. I mean, it's still, the Guru Prasad Memorial is there still. And if you go on that Banganan Road, you will see a big kind of a school there. And so my early memories of Baba are, Baba used to come to Guru Prasad, and so he would say, my aunt, especially Roshan Kerawala, would say, we're going to have to go and clean Guru Prasad because Baba is coming. And so every last Sunday of the month, they used to let us go. And so I remember times when Roshan would come, Roshan Kirawala would come. We used to call her Roshan Masi. She was my mother's cousin. And so she would take us and we will go to Guru Prasad. And so I remember a lot of last Sundays of the month being spent at Guru Prasad, trying to clean up and do things like those. So those are my memories of Baba at that point. I don't have many memories of meeting him there at Guru Prasad. But then what had happened was once we had and I'm sure Behram remembers this, we had a board there in the boarding school where the news of the day was put up there every day. And so one day somebody had put a news of the day, renowned saint in Ahmednagar by the name Meher Baba passes away. And so I'm sure it must be right after January 31st, 1969. And so those are my memories of finding out how Baba passed away. Now, right before he passed away, the other memory that I have is of going to Dara and Amrit's wedding, and that was in December 1968. And December 1968 was a very tough time for Baba, I'm sure. And I remember walking past Baba, and Baba was standing on the porch there in Merazad, and he was waving, and we were walking past him in a line. And for some reason, a thought kind of popped in my mind that Baba looks really tired. And so that kind of, I'm still surprised that me being 10, something like that became evident to me at that age. So that's my memory of Baba, and I distinctly remember seeing him there on the porch there. Now, after that, so Baba passes away, and I'm still in the school there. Now, the thing about that is Elizabeth Patterson, who was kind of all the time with Norina, and she was instrumental in starting the center, the Myrtle Beach Center here. In fact, Elizabeth donated the 500 acres, which is the Baba Center at the moment in Myrtle Beach. And so naturally, since Baba had kind of mentioned about this Norina thing, Elizabeth was interested in meeting me. And so I remember at one point in my school, a big car kind of pulls over, and there are these three American ladies. They come out, and one was Elizabeth Patterson, another was Jane Haynes, who later ran the center here in Myrtle Beach, and then the third was Wendy. Wendy Haynes was Jane's daughter. So Wendy is still alive. She lives in Myrtle Beach. And so these three kind of come out, and you can imagine a small boy. I must have been maybe, so this was after Baba passed away, so must be 12 or 11 or 12. And so a boy is called, and so I was called there, and so I meet this lady, and then I'm trying to figure out what are they trying to kind of infer here. And so they wanted to talk to me and all that, and naturally you can imagine the superintendent there was kind of curious, what is all this going on here? And it was kind of, in retrospect, quite a unusual kind of a meeting. But anyway, Elizabeth that time gives me a box, and so after she gives me a box, I felt, oh, this is not so bad, right? I mean, for a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, you're getting a gift for meeting these ladies. And so, oh, that's good. It so happens that she had given me one of those plastic kits to build these toys. And so this was like the model of USS Enterprise. USS Enterprise is one of the ships that we have, one of the aircraft carriers. And so it was almost, say, 2 feet in length. And so, and then I remember after I got that model of the ship, everybody was my friend, right, at in the school, because everybody wanted to know what this was, and everybody wanted to contribute in kind of putting that together. And I remember we put it together, and it had batteries, and it had lights, and it had a motor, and so on. We were kind of just, and I said, oh, this is not so bad, right? You're getting gifts for whatever. And then I remember, and I'm sure Behram will be able to relate to this more, but we in the school, we had this big shower, and the whole shower was like, we had 12 showers, and everybody took a shower at the same time. And so the shower had a ledge, which was maybe a 10-foot ledge, which you can fill up. So what we used to do was you seal the drain, and you fill up the entire ledge with water, the entire surface. And then we used to let this boat kind of go around. And so it was kind of a nice memory that Elizabeth kind of gave that time. Now, that happened, I was a kid then, but Elizabeth kept up with me. And so eventually we became friends. And so I I left that and then went to college. And so Elizabeth was kind of keen on keeping a correspondence going with me. And so we had quite a few exchanges of letters and things like those. So that was kind of what in some ways kind of was building up my relationship with Baba. Now, all this is happening, and some people might feel, oh, it is so nice to be born into a Baba family. But it's not so kind of easy. What happens at times is, especially that's what happened in my case, was, yes, those years were fine when you're growing up. But then as I started going into my teens, you have a tendency to begin to question everything. And so, and then you're learning about, naturally you're learning about Darwin, and you're learning about evolution and how everything is kind of just happens by nature, and there's nothing supernatural about it. And so there was a point in my life when I got into that kind of thinking. I felt that, oh, maybe, I mean, you begin to question the whole concept of God, right? You feel, because now you become scientific, so you feel, oh, yeah, all this is just by itself, it just evolved and it all happens. So that phase in my life came right after I had graduated from high school, and I was in Ahmednagar at that time. And so I was now by that time, I should kind of mention that Baba passed away in January 69, and for some reason, I don't know why, Baba had mentioned to my dad that he will come to him 6 months after Baba left the body. Now, somebody had told me this earlier, and I said, why would Baba do that? But I met somebody, I forget his name now, but when I was in Ahmednagar, maybe 3-4 years back, I met this person, and I'm sure if I remember the name, I'll tell you. But this Gulab was some Gulab, the name is Gulab. But this person came to me and said that, have you heard that Baba had told your dad that he will follow him 6 months after him? And I said, yeah, I heard about that. But then I find it hard to believe why he would do that. So this person, he said that this happened in front of me. Baba told your dad in front of me that will happen. I said, wow, I mean, now that is different. If somebody says that he was an eyewitness to the whole thing. So that's what happens. The Baba passes away in January 69, and then my dad passed away in August 69. And that kind of, in a way, was quite an experience for the family. We were three brothers, and so naturally Bayram was 6, and Mernos was 8, and I was 10. And I remember my mother was absolutely devastated. But the good thing was we were a joint family. We were with Baba. The family was so close to the Mandali. So there was a lot of interaction there. And we lived as a kind of a joint family in Ahmednagar. So that really helped out. So, so by the time I graduated from high school, I began to question all this, and especially uh, I can see now when you get your own kids, and when you see how you are able to kind of interact with them and guide them and kind of show them the way, is the time that I began to think what it would have been to have a father or a fatherly figure. Now, don't get me wrong, I had uncles who really helped out, but finally, father is a father. So in turn, then what happens is I come to Ahmednagar, and then I'm kind of questioning all these kind of things. I'm getting into this whole thing about evolution and kind of questioning the whole concept of God and all that. And that's where all begins, right? I mean, if you look at it, if you either believe in everything or you believe in nothing. And so that's where I was. I said, well, if you believe that there is something supernatural, then it's very easy to believe Baba, because he's God. So it becomes very easy to then relate to that. But then if you're questioning the very foundation, whether it's kind of different. And one thing that really kind of got my thinking changed was the Baba's image that came out in Merazad, right outside Mera's room. So you might remember that I think it was the umber tree on which Baba's image came out, and I'm sure you know the story, but Mera was very depressed, and so one day Mera kind of looks out of the window and she looks at this tree, and she sees Baba's image, and first she thinks that it's just her imagination, and then she keeps quiet for a few days, and then she tells others, and then others kind of look at that, and then they realize, oh, this is actually an image. And if some of you, if you have not seen the picture, I kind of really encourage you to see that. Now, the reason that became so important in my life was I then started studying engineering and studying statistics and studying probability and all that. And that's when I began to look at that image and started to think, okay, so what is the probability of an image of Baba to come out on a tree right outside Mera's room? Now, we know, I mean, there are so, I mean, it might become a little more technical, but if you look at the way things happen, there are chance happenings, and there are, so we call them assignable causes and unassignable causes. And so unassignable causes are things that happen. So if you see kind of some ups and downs on a trunk, then you say, well, this is just unassignable. There's nothing special about it. That's the way it is. But then if you get an image of Baba on a tree, then that becomes an assignable cause. And so the whole point of that is there is no way that this can happen just by chance. And that's when kind of my whole thinking started going different. And I said, this has to be something that something that Baba did extra to make that happen. So in a way, now Baba said he does not perform miracles. He does not want to kind of change the physical nature of things. But I began to feel Baba's kind of love for Mehra must have been so much that he kind of broke one of his rules just to show Mehra that yes, he is still there. And so that's how this really it not only was a boon to Mehra, but it played a major role in my life also. And that kind of made me think, wow, there is something more to that. Now, after that, I kind of started thinking more as you kind of go more and more, you kind of mature, you kind of start thinking about other things. There's then another thing that I ran into, and some of you might be interested in that. It's a very generic kind of a theme. It's a set of videos that are available on YouTube, and you might want to check these out. And there is a movement in America, for that matter, in the world, and the movement is called it's the whole concept of not evolution but design. And so the set of videos is called Where Does the Evidence Lead? And so some of you might be interested in that. So if you just type in Where Does the Evidence Lead, it kind of tells you about these scientists who have come together and who are exploring the evidence of nature to see what they can talk about evolution and what they can talk about design. And that's a fascinating kind of a set of videos. And if you kind of see that, and I kind of viewed that quite a few times, and after you see that, you will begin to see miracles in everything, which is kind of really very unusual that will happen, because what you begin to see is, and then you kind of begin to relate to naturally probability, and so you begin to see the miracle in a leaf, you begin to see miracle in a seed, you begin to see miracle in small animals, and it's just amazing. And so once you begin to see that, you begin to realize that yes, all this is through design, and Baba is kind of what Baba said about the various planes, how evolution happens. Now, evolution does happen, but it's not the way that Darwin kind of tries to explain away evolution. Evolution happens, and at least that's the belief that I have now. Evolution happens, but it's more of evolution guided by design. And so that kind of really has in some ways given me that basis of my relationship now with Baba. So everything that I see here at the moment is, oh, it's the way Baba kind of takes you to the next level and explains you these things. And there's no way that it could just have happened by chance. And so that's how kind of my journey with Baba has kind of been there. To tell you some other kind of related stories, my mother was kind of an ardent believer of Baba. I mean, I argue a lot about all these things during those times when I was going through these challenging times. I had some big discussions with her about my thoughts and her thoughts and all that. But she said, I don't understand all that, but I just love Baba, and Baba told us just love me and I'll take care of everything. And that was her kind of a basis there. In fact, to tell you some stories about my mother, her understanding of Baba was kind of quite different. In fact, at one point she had visited us in the US. So my wife Rukshana and we were living in a small apartment at that time. And so she visited us, and we just had it was a 1-bedroom apartment. So we told her that there's a sofa here in the living room where you can sleep. And she kind of looks up, and we had put a plant there up in the ceiling. And so she looks at the plant, and then she says, oh no, but what if this plant falls on me when I'm sleeping? Because it was right above the sofa there. And so jokingly I said, come on, your devotion to Baba is so much, there is no way that Baba will drop that on you. She said, you know what? Baba will intentionally drop it on me and tell me, you stupid lady, didn't you have sense enough to sleep here below a plant that can fall on you? So that is the kind of an understanding she had about Baba, which kind of really I kind of have good memories about. So that's my kind of a story. Let me see what other things I can tell you. It's been it's been really good for me. In some ways, living in the US has given me the opportunity to also be with the Myrtle Beach Center. I'm always amazed by the devotion and the kind of single-mindedness that Baba lovers here have. They really want to serve the center, do the things, and that has been kind of a really, in some ways, a blessing that even living in the US, I'm close to the center and I can interact with Baba lovers who are close by. Okay, so I think I'm going to ask for some help from my brother and my cousin, my sister Shehnaz here. Tell me which stories I have forgotten and which I should elaborate upon.
You can tell when Baba used to come to our house and how he used to interact with our granny, Shirinmai.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, that is another thing. So, Baba was constantly going from early in Merazat to Mehrabad, and so he would stop by there. And I remember my mom, I used to kind of tell her, make this and this, and then sometimes we would complain, oh, the food is this, and the food is, today the food is not very kind of good or whatever. And I remember always my mom used to say, don't complain about my food. My food has been appreciated by Baba. So if Baba has appreciated my food, you have no right to kind of criticize my food. So yeah, Baba used to kind of, and then my mother also, another thing that she remembered well was they used to go to Sarosh Canteen and watch movies. And so she kind of really enjoyed the Laurel and Hardy movies that Baba enjoyed. And so she used to always say, oh, that was so much fun going to the theater at maybe 5 or 6 in the morning and watching Laurel and Hardy movies in that Sarosh theater there. Yeah, thank you, Bayram. That was a good, yeah, we kind of remember those ones. So let me do this. I can open it up, and Mernosh, what we can do is ask questions, and I think that might bring out more stories. So, okay, now another thing that I would also like to say is Mernosh said about bringing the Mehta family, and I remember You remember our my dad's brother, Rusi, and so we used to call him Rusi Kaka. And at times he told me a lot of stories about my dad. And one time he kind of jokingly said that, you know what, your dad was knowing Baba and going to Baba, and we were very upset with him that he kept that as a secret from us for a long time. And so I said, what do you mean as a secret? He said, well, he used to say he was going to some this saintly person, but we never knew who this was. And so Rusikaka always kind of felt that maybe my dad should have brought the family in earlier. But I've been really blessed to have the two sides of the family, and Perrin and Mirnosh's dad, Nariman Kaka. He has been, I mean, all these people. It's amazing how Baba brought us all together, and in a number of ways, that's what has kept us together. Is Baba at the center of it all.
Merwan, what about that line that Baba had written in the letter, which Erach uncle had written to you, which you said you will mention?
So yeah, that line, what he had mentioned was just this, that so Erach, he kind of sends this letter to my mom in which he writes that casually Baba mentioned that this Merwan is Norina. And just that line, I mean, that kind of changes the way you kind of look at things. In fact, it's interesting because at one point I was invited to go to the Los Angeles Sahahvas to kind of talk about Baba and kind of just interact with the people there. And at that time, I remember Erach was alive, and so I wrote to Erach and asked him and wanted to know more about the circumstances under which this had happened. And Baba had mentioned about that line there. And Erach kind of wrote a very nice letter back to me. And one thing that I remember from the letter that he wrote back was, he said that my advice to you is not think about it seriously at all. Just, I don't know why Baba felt the need to do that, but that is Baba's kind of doing. So just don't take it seriously. And that's essentially what I've done, is just kind of pretty much not let that affect your life. So, but it can kind of become a big, the thing about that is, and if you know kind of how our Baba lovers here are in the US also, once they know something like that, they would kind of come to me. Sometimes it's been really funny because what will happen is, this has happened in Myrtle Beach a lot. People will come and tell me what they think they were in some previous births. I said, that's just, I said, I have a hard time believing it myself, even when Baba said it. And so for you to kind of tell me, but yeah, you know how we all of us are, right? We want to know more about what's where we come from in the past. But Erach's kind of a point was very kind of poignant and said, well, just forget it, just don't think about it, let that not affect your life in any way, and just keep moving on.
True.
Okay, Shenas, well, some stories now.
Which? Tell Akbar press stories, no? How we used to about going to the farm, going to the samadhi.
Okay, let me tell you that one. So the other day, what happened was, there was a Baba lover by the name Dennis McCabe, and Dennis McCabe had come to Ahmednagar, and he was with us when I was in, I think I was in my college days then. So Dennis was maybe he's still alive. He's 4 or 5 years older than me. And he was, so I must be what, 19, 20. He was maybe 24, 25. And so we became friends then. And he still works at the center at Myrtle Beach. So the other day, Dennis kind of says, I have a surprise for you. And I said, oh, really? What is it? And so he said, well, I took, once your family is there in Myrtle Beach, I will give you that surprise. And so he takes us in this room and he puts on a video, and he made sure there was nobody else but us. And he puts on this video, and somehow this video was from 1972 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I must be maybe 14 or 15 or something like that, or maybe even younger. And this video was taken by Erwin Luck. So that time, right after Baba passed away, Erwin Luck and his brother, I forget his brother's name, but they went around the whole world with a camcorder and took a lot of videos of all these Baba people. Now, that is in no way a very professional video, but it was kind of really nice because this video has the whole Sattha family. So it's starting from the oldest of the Satthas, Merji Mama. Merji Mama was the one the Sattha who went to China, and he kind of, after the Second World War, he stopped. So he was a engineer and a manager in China. So he stopped going to China, and then he kind of brought this, he bought this property in Ahmednagar, this Akbar Press property, and he then settled the whole family there. So it was Merji Mama, it was Homi Mama. Homi Mama was Roshan's dad, and then we had Jamie Mama, and then Pilu Mama, and then then our grandma. And all of these people are in this video. And when this Dennis showed me this, it was just, and in fact, did I show it to you, Shanaz? That was,
Yes.
yeah, it is just amazing. I mean, we are just 10, 12, and we just kind of, and did this Erwin Luck, bless his heart, he kind of really did a good job on kind of at least capturing those. And so, and Nashwan Mama was there. Nashwan Mama kind of takes everybody around.
And he asked us what we think about Baba as kids.
Yes. And then we are all kids, and they asked each of us what we thought about Baba, and all of us kind of gave a sentence or two, and it was kind of very interesting. And Nashwan Mama kind of took the photographer through the videographer through the house and introduced where Baba used to sit and where Baba used to eat, and how the whole kind of family used to kind of operate at that time, which is kind of really a good kind of a memory to have.
And how Pilu Mama used to take us to the Baba Center every Saturday, and we would sit at the back and run away to Sarosh Theatre and watch, because we didn't like it at all that age.
Yeah. And okay, I might be stepping on Behram's kind of territory, but let me tell Behram's story also, because that is part of the story that is there in that video also.
Oh yeah.
And so what had happened that time was, I remember we were in Ahmednagar, and that time Bauji used to come to the Ahmednagar Center, and he used to give a talk about Baba at the end before the center ends. And so on one occasion after the center ended, we met Bauji, and so I remember Behram kind of was talking to him, and then Behram kind of tells him that, why don't you write a speech for me? I will give a talk. And so Bauji said, I will, okay, yes. So Bauji said, yes, I will write you a talk. And then Bauji asks Behram but what will you give me for that? And I don't know why, but Behram said that I will give you some brain toast.
Because he used to love brain toast.
So my mother used to make these. My mother used to make these brain toasts, and so Bhauji said, "Okay, brain toast." And I remember Bhauji wrote a story for him, a kind of a talk for him, and in the talk, I don't know, I don't remember the whole talk, but then part of the talk was that Baba says, "I am Ram," and so Baba is one Ram, but I am Behram. That means I'm two Rams. So I'm kind of a step ahead of you. And so that was kind of a great thing. And then what happened then was, because this is related to the video, for some reason, when the Irwin Luck had come and Irwin Luck was taking these pictures, Behram had this speech in his pocket. And so Irwin Luck says, say something, and Behram removes that speech and says the whole speech there. So we have Behram's whole speech on video.
And mind you, I was 6 years old.
Yes, you are 6 years old. But yeah, it is just incredible. And Behram, and he does such a good job of it. So maybe Behram, someday we can show them this video. So.
Sure.
But yeah, and then and I remember we did take the, I don't know what Bhauji did with the brain toast, because I'm sure Bhauji does not eat brains, but we did made the brain toast and took it for Bhauji. So.
Merwan.
Yes.
So Arvind's brother's name is Eddie Luck.
Yeah, Irwin and Eddie Luck. Okay, yes, thank you. Right, so they went about, they were in their early 20s or something like that, and they did a great job. I mean, they went about taking these pictures, and they have these humongous collection of stories. So in fact, Irwin kind of let me have quite a few of those. So I have talks from Sam Kerawala. I have a lot of talks from our other kind of relatives from the family also, which is kind of nice. I mean, at least it's good to have those memories.
Yeah, Merwan, this is Jimmy here. What Mernos does at the center every Sunday, the very first speaker, when I say very first speaker, I mean 62 onwards, when the center started, it was your dad who would give the main, he was the key speaker every Sunday evenings. Do you have any thought? Do you remember that? Maybe you were too young for that. Maybe.
Yeah. I do remember distinctly going to the center every Sunday. It was on some second floor or something, right? And I distinctly remember that, no question. Yes. The other thing that I remember was those times it was like a chore for me to be sitting there and kind of being there. Because I mean, you want to go and run and play, right? And dad says, no, you need to sit here. But yes, Jimmy, I do remember going to the center distinctly. So I had the good fortune of then also visiting the Myrtle Beach Center at one point. And so I came to the US in '87, and in '88, my mom visited us. And so we kind of went to the Myrtle Beach Center. So it was my mother-in-law, Dilbar, and my mother, and my wife, and Mernosh, my second brother Mernosh was visiting us, so he was there with me, and so we visited the center, and I believe my nephew Zubin also was with us. So there were 5 of us. We went to the center that time. This must have been July 1988, somewhere around that time. And that time at the center, Jane Haynes was running the center. Jane Haynes, who I was mentioning earlier, who kind of was instrumental with Elizabeth Patterson to establish that center. And Margaret Krask was there. Margaret Krask is a very old Baba lover. She was a dancer, and she was living there. And then Kitty Devi was another. So these 3 ladies were there. And it was kind of quite a funny situation there. What happens is I went and met these ladies. And so I go and meet Margaret. And Margaret is, she's quite a short lady. She's a dance teacher, very accomplished, very acclaimed. And she's sitting in a corner there on the porch there. And they kind of give me a seat beside Margaret. And they introduce us. And the first thing that Margaret says to me, and I've never met Margaret, right? The first thing she says to me is, "You never liked me, did you?" And I said, "Excuse me?" It is incredible. She interacted with me as if I was in my last birth, which is amazing. How can I? She said, "Yes, I know. Norina never liked me." I said, I just, and then I naturally had to take her hand and say, "Who told you that, Margaret? That's not the case at all." Yeah, it is. Margaret is funny. And it is just incredible looking at these Baba lovers. And in fact, there was another Baba lover by the name Adele Walkins. And Adele just passed away, I think, a couple of years back. And Adele was, she was instrumental in taking care of Norina before she passed away. So she spent quite a bit of time taking care of Norina. And so it's amazing. I mean, I mean, I'd really kind of have a hard time with all that. But I can tell you, Adele and our whole family became really good friends. And in fact, it's quite funny. Adele visited us in North Carolina quite a few times. In fact, she came here at least 3 times. And so Adele was just amazing. I mean, she had her energy. She used to be a nurse, and she had kept herself very well. And she kind of, in her 90s, she could, if something fell, and if you tried to pick it up, she will pick it up before you did. You'll be surprised at her energy. But yeah, it is amazing how Baba brought these people together, and how kind of Baba's influence on us kind of transcends these reincarnations, which is amazing. I mean, I just feel that in some ways, by all these things that happen, it gives us an understanding of what is truly that matters. And in fact, we have a tendency to, in some ways, compartmentalize our lives, and we say, okay, the life only matters from our when we are born to till we die. But such kind of things give you a real appreciation for how big the whole scheme of things is, and how kind of Baba helps us to go from one set of experiences to the other. And I've always, at least in my past few years, I've begun to appreciate that it's all about how we experience all these things, how we experience our relationships with others, and how we experience our relationships with Baba, relationship with Baba, that really finally matters. Okay, so I would like to open it up and see if you have any other questions, and I'm sure maybe Perrin or maybe Mernos might have some other input.
Bobby has a question. Bobby.
Go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jai Baba, Doctor.
Jai Baba.
First, thank you for sharing such beautiful stories of your family and Baba. My question was around something you mentioned earlier in the talk around believing in Baba. And I'm very new to Baba. So to me, I stay away from religion because religion to me is all about believing. And spirituality to me, what Baba is all about feeling. So I'd love to hear, how do you feel Baba, or is it really believing in Baba? You see the difference between the two, which one is religion, the other spirituality.
Yeah, excellent question. Yeah, I'm not a religious person at all. So we were born in the Zoroastrian faith, but I kind of stay away from any kind of religious ceremonies. That's where Baba comes into play. Now, here's the thing that I believe about Baba, and a lot of times I've seen that people would kind of tell you, well, Baba is so and so, or Baba is God, or Baba is a messenger of God, or whatever you want to kind of put it that way. The whole thing about that, I think I'm getting some feedback. So maybe. So the way I look at this, a number of times people feel that, and that I would say that a lot of Baba lovers also feel that they should share the knowledge that they've gotten about Baba with others. Now, when you tell somebody about Baba, the first thing kind of the person who's trying to tell you about Baba is wanting to share the knowledge that they have acquired. But a number of times it's taken in the wrong sense. You would kind of feel that you're trying to push Baba onto somebody. And I have always felt that there is no point in trying to sell Baba. What I mean by selling Baba is trying to convince somebody that Baba is what he says it is. We need to remember one thing. It's not that Baba is going to benefit in any way if you believe in Baba, but it's us who are going to benefit if we begin to look at it from a different point of view. And that is why I've always kind of, I would talk with people once it comes time to tell about your or my Baba experiences, but I've never felt the need to really try to convince somebody that they should begin to really believe in and follow Baba. So that has been the whole thing. The spirituality is about interrelating with other people. And I would say if somebody feels the need, what they should do is read Baba's life, see what his teachings are, see what he wants us to kind of bring into our daily lives, and then decide if that is for them or not. And if it is not there, so be it. The way I look at this is what do you think is the excuse me, what do you think is the ultimate goal? So based on whatever Baba has told us, the ultimate goal has to be to bring ourselves to a point where we become worthy of becoming one with God. Now think about it. If that is the ultimate goal, that you're going to, for lack of a better word, purify yourself, or get rid of all your sanskaras, or get rid of all the shortcomings that you have. And the ultimate goal is to finally be with, become one with God. Then that is such a lofty goal that might not be achievable in one lifetime. That goal might transcend several incarnations. And if that's the case, you need not be in a hurry to kind of come to a point, or you need not be in a hurry to force yourself into believing anything that you're not comfortable with at the moment. So the way I look at it, you might be better off just trying to learn more about it and keep an open mind. But keep in mind that essentially what Baba wants us to do is experience different things. And the more you experience things which are spiritual, the more that will help you on your spiritual journey. And that's I'm not trying to tell you anything to believe in, but that is what I believe, and that is what I try to structure my life on. So, Bobby,
Thank
did
you.
I touch on your
Yeah,
question?
very beautiful. And just an observation, I'm a past life therapist as my part-time.
What's your, I'm sorry?
I'm a past life therapist in London,
Okay.
for the last 12 years. I don't know if you've heard of Brian Weiss, but he's been my teacher. And I agree with what you said, that we all have glimpses of past lives. I've had many, and they're all irrelevant. What really matters is what we do with our life currently, and not what's in the past, because those are all sanskaras. So I think what you said was spot on. It does not matter.
Well, what do you mean by past life therapist? What does that entail?
So there are many people who come with issues in this lives, and sometimes they're related to past life, including relationship issues, physical issues. And what I tend to do is help people to look at whether the symptoms they're having in this life are related to childhood, or sometimes to past life. And there are times when it's completely eradicated, and sometimes because there's a better understanding, there's less pain. So there are linked to sanskaras, including birthmarks from past lives. But it's a huge subject, and I don't want to take time of anyone else asking questions. But
I understand.
feel free to
I would like
connect
to
with me.
talk more with you sometime.
Yeah, please. It's a subject that's very close to my heart. So feel free to connect anytime. I'll send you my
your
email on
contact
chat.
information. Yeah, I would love to kind of interact with you.
Sure. Thank you.
Is there a question from Dilshad? I see there are some hands raised. So.
Yeah, Dilshad.
Dilshad, go ahead.
You spoke about your mother having a very different relationship, or a very strong, ardent lover of Baba. And as I understand, she was the first generation from your family to be coming in the Baba fold. Do you remember any special incident or occasion which made her believe and take Baba as the avatar, as the God?
Yeah, good question. So she was the second generation. My granduncles and my grandma were the first generation that came to Baba. I have often felt that, and in fact, in my mother's case, 100% I felt that my mother had such a conviction, and I really don't know where it came from, but she truly did not need anything like that. She just felt that to be the case. In fact, there's a famous picture of Baba. He's wearing a crown, Have you seen that picture? He's sitting in, it's in Mehrabad. He's wearing a crown, like crown of Krishna. And there is a lady, I can put that picture. I can maybe send some pictures to Mernosh, he can share with you. And there's a lady standing behind him, a girl of maybe 20, 22 or 25 or something like that. And that's my mother. So I'd asked her about that, and she had such a conviction. She just said, "Oh, what's there? I mean, there's just it's a given. It's just like air. I mean, what's there? Yeah, air is there. We breathe, and that's it. That's there." And that was just amazing. I mean, it just was amazing what conviction she had. Behram, you want to add anything on that? Our mom's convictions on that?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think she was always convinced that, there is nothing to question, nothing to ask. She used to always tell us that after Baba passed away, for them it was like life was over. Because they had so much fun with Baba that Baba's energy used to, ooze out whenever and wherever he went. So it was like a fair wherever he went. So for them, after Baba's passing away, it was like a big void. Yeah. And they felt that, there is no point living without Baba. I remember her saying on many occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Merwan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Anosh.
Oh, Merwan, how are you?
I've been listening to you.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't know that you were also there. Great.
Yeah, I would just like to add to this that, later on when I was in Nagar, I'm still in Nagar, and when we used to go to college, the Mandli used to visit Mehrabad on their way from Mehrazad. And many times to see the Satta family, especially Dhan Satta and others, including Nashwan Mama, Bilu Mama, then our mom, they used to visit Akbar Press. And, I remember as a college going kid, it was my duty to get the soft drinks, to get the samosa and everything for them. They used to be there for some time, say about 1 to 2 hours. So, and then mom always used to say, that just imagine, okay, now the Mandli is coming and there's so much excitement. Now imagine when Baba used to come here.
Yeah.
So, now we later on, later on, I started imagining that what it must be that when Baba used to visit Akbar Press, what the situation would have been like. So, that is one thing about and mom, she always used to write about, Baba songs. She was just, like Behram said, she was just in, means Baba is everything. She had just left everything to Baba.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Merwan, just one small question. Which was the first person in the earlier generation who came in touch with Baba in your
That was Nashwan Mama. The Nashwan Mama and Merji Mama.
So that was Mama.
These were my granduncles. So this was my my mother's mother. So my grandma's brothers. They were, I believe they were 5 brothers and 4 sisters. And one of the sisters was Erach's mom, Gaimai. So Gaimai, Erach's mother, and my grandma were sisters. And that's why Erach was one of our uncles. Yeah.
Yeah, and Merwan, I would like to add one thing that our grandmother used to always tell us, that Baba used to tell her that I am your 6th brother. Don't ever forget about that.
Yeah, and one thing, Merwan, you mentioned that Nashwan Mama and Pilu Mama, they were the ones to actually hear Baba actual voice, And so I had asked them, what kind of voice was that? So they used to say it was very, heavy and strong, Yeah, and sometimes Baba used to sing also, but
Yeah.
but his voice was quite heavy, like a person in authority.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So beautiful. Thank you.
So let's see.
All the
There are
three
some
brothers
other
will all
hands that are raised. Mernosh, you want to kind of look at those?
what a treat it is to have all the three brothers together. We invited one, gave all three.
You got two
I
free.
mean, it's a real joy to listen to Mernosh and Beram as well, and all the memories and my earliest memories and what you spoke about Meru auntie is so correct, because I was a little kid when I used to come to your place and to Akbar Press, and I distinctly remember Meru auntie was so straightforward as far as Baba is concerned. There was no argument, no question, nothing. Baba is God, Baba is the avatar. That's the end of the story. Nothing further is said and nothing further is discussed. And she played a very, and as I read out the memoirs of my mother a couple of Thursdays back, she writes very lovingly about Meru auntie, saying that it was Meru auntie who actually built conviction in my mother's heart even further, related to Baba and all the stories of Baba that she had shared. And my mother understood God Speaks, because God Speaks was translated into Gujarati by Bajaj Dada. And
Mhm.
that copy is unfortunately no longer available. In fact, quite a few people after listening to that talk called me up to check where is that copy. And it's unfortunately not available. But I think in their own way, both of them played a very pivotal role in bringing all of us and the family much more close to Baba. And I think that can only happen by his grace, the grace that he had
Absolutely.
on the two of them. And there's no denying, there is absolutely no denying that. Yeah, any other question? Anybody, please feel free to. We have all the three doctors over here, so
Well,
Manoj,
Mernosh, it is a surprise for me also that both of my brothers joined in. So this was not planned.
Manoj, I would like to share one small incident. When my mom passed away
go ahead.
in
Go ahead.
89, when my mom passed away, I was totally, dejected and very sad, and I was crying. And uh, 2 days later was Meramai's birthday. She passed away on 20th, and Meramai's birthday was on 22nd of December. So I met Erach at Mehrabad, and I told him I don't understand why Baba did something like this. So what Erach told me at that time is what my mom believed throughout her life. Erach just told me one sentence: don't try to understand Baba, just love him. And I think my parents just did that. They never tried to understand them. They
Yeah.
have never tried to understand my Baba ever. They just loved without understanding. And I think we all need to strive to do that, is what I feel.
Mhm. That's very good. Very good, Beram.
Very good.
That's absolutely the crux of all that we have, crux of our life, essentially. That's what I feel as well. I feel very strongly, and then I, one last thing. I when I spoke, unless there are other questions, when I spoke last Thursday, a couple of Thursdays back, uh, Merwan, I don't know if you remember, but my first trip to Mehrabad was sitting on your bike on the tank of your SD motorcycle, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
That
Okay.
was June 1993. And that was the first trip, because I sat on that tank many times and you also let me drive it. That was the last time I ever drove a motorcycle in my life. Those memories are there of, and as you so correctly said, it is nothing but how Baba brings us together. That is what is so important. In- the sharing has been absolutely beautiful. Sam, would you have anything to say, Sam?
Uh, since Since the three brothers have spoken, I was just wondering if Shehnaz could speak something.
Every year you have to take an appointment.
Sheena's going to say something. Oh,
Before we conclude the session. Sam, are you there? Sam Patel?
are you asking me?
No, I'm asking Sam.
And
Hello.
Menosh, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Unmute Shehnaz.
Go ahead, Sam.
She has to unmute herself.
Shehnaz, you have not unmuted yourself.
Okay, better.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember at Akbar Press, we used to say Baba's Aarti every day. There was a Baba picture near Grandma's bed. And we used to say the Aarti at 7 o'clock at Akbar Press.
Parent Auntie, would you like to say something? Parent Auntie?
Yeah, that's that same picture that Mernosh Nariman Mehta talked about it at his talk, which was in Akbar Press, and Mernosh Barjor Mehta has it at his home now, and I think we were all shown that picture. But what I would like to say about, of course, Barjor Kaka, extremely dear to me. There's a lot to be said there. But this special really time with Merwanti, and when we are talking about Merwanti and how she was just all Babas, I was 21 years old at the time. Barjo Kaka passed away. I had an instant heart attack. I was just coming over to Nagar to be with my parents. And so I was present for Barjo Kaka's funeral at Akbar Press. His body was there, laid in Akbar Press, and Merwanti was sitting against the wall. And I remember Merwanti not crying even one tear. And that touched me the most. I looked at her and I said, oh, wow, what a beautiful person. What deep faith she has in Baba, that here is her husband. And all Merwanti said constantly was, Baba ne evanni vadare jarur che. Mara karta Baba ne evanni vadare jarur che. So she would live her life with these three little boys that were left behind. Of course, joint family was there, as Merwan said, but that and many, 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 many times togetherness with Merwanti, but that if it has ever affected me deeply is to remember my sweet auntie and know that her faith was just total and complete in beloved Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Yeah, parent, that is a very good point that you brought. So I have also a number of times kind of thought on that about my dad, and the way it happened, my dad passed away in front of my eyes. And so what had happened was my dad was having some chest pains, and so we that time we were living in that in Satta colony where Menosh lives now. And so I remember I was on a break that time. This was in '69, so I was maybe I was 10, right? I was 10, and so he kind of brought me to Akbar Press. Both of us came to Akbar Press. He had a bicycle then, so we kind of walked and we came to that. And then that time he had a poultry farm, and so and in fact, Shehnaz, that room that where you and your family were living in Akbar Press, that side room. So I remember my dad said that he's not feeling well. He's going to go and rest in that room. And so I was kind of playing beside him. And the way it happens, he had this chest pains, and he had called the cardiologist. And that time, I think the name of the cardiologist was Shelgikar, right? Dr. Shelgikar. So this Dr. Shelgikar, he comes and he checks my dad out. He kind of looks at that. He talks to him. Everything is fine. And Shelgikar is leaving. Shelgikar is at the door. And when Shelgikar is at the door, my dad gets the heart attack. And so he suddenly begins to do deep breathing and and you can imagine, if you're having a heart attack, the best person to have beside you would be a cardiologist. And so naturally, Shelgikar immediately starts his whole thing, tries to resuscitate him. And with Shelgikar standing beside him, and we were 3 people in that room, was my dad, Shelgikar, and I. And Shelgikar could not do anything. And then he looks at me and says, "Oh, he's gone," or something like that. And in retrospect, when I've thought about this, why did he have to go? I said, well, he really had to go. There was no way nobody could have saved him. And in fact, that's what told me the best person to have saved him was there. And if that person could not have saved him, nobody could have saved him. And so in some ways, yeah, I've taken that also, like my mom, yeah, his time had come. And remember, this is after later we found out that Baba had said that you're going to follow me 6 months after. I don't know why Baba told him that. But Baba passed away in January, end of January 69. And our dad, he went in August of 69. So it was amazing. It was just past 6 months.
Merwan, when you told us about that other gentleman telling you about Baba telling your dad that he would pass away in 6 months, I was also told by, his name is Erach Karadia. He's from Bombay. Erach uncle was a very, very close friend of your father. He's in Bombay right now with his wife, Rashna. And he remembers this story very clearly. And he has told me that Baba mentioned this to your dad.
Wow. Okay, thank you. You said Erach Karadia.
And Erach Karadia. Erach Karadia. He lives in Dadar.
Oh, maybe I should meet him someday. Okay.
Yeah. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Sam, over to you.
Two people have something to say. Somebody with name of Redimi, and second is Meher Daruwala. Who's
very quickly, please, if anybody wants to say. We are running out of time. Very quickly. If anybody wishes to say anything, any comments or questions?
No, we can't hear you. He's trying to say something. We can't hear you.
You will have to unmute. He will have to unmute himself.
He has done that.
Can't hear.
No, we can't hear.
Okay.
Sam, over to you, Sam.
Yeah. Jai Baba, everybody. This was one of the nicest evenings we've had. 3 stalwarts in a row. What more can you ask for? And folks, I don't know, but I like the way Merwan spoke straight from the heart. And because he did that, somehow or the other, we felt Baba's presence during this entire meeting that was going on. And this was one of the finest experiences to cherish in his love. Thank you very much, everybody. Tomorrow happens to be the day when Baba started his new life journey. I had the New Life Ka song ready to be played out, but perhaps on some other time. True life's essence was helplessness and hopelessness. And perhaps this pandemic is driving us to that. So stay with him. Hold on to his daman with both our hands. Thank you and Jai Mehr Baba.
Jai Baba.
Thank you, Merwan. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Mernosh, Beram.
Thank you. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai
Real
Baba.
pleasure
Jai
having you
Baba.
guys.
Jai Baba.
Thank you.
Avtar, let's
Avtar, Meher
Meher
Baba.
Baba
ki
ki jai.
jai.
Thank
Avtar.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Jai Baba.
Menos Jai Baba, Menos
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Dem
Jai Baba.